Having reviewed the cases presented by the defense concerning the downward departure, also as well the argument that has been presented, the court has reviewed its notes of the trial and will rule on the issue of downward departure at this point. Florida Supreme Court has a two-part test concerning whether a downward departure should be granted or could be granted by the trial court. The first is whether the trial court can impose a downward departure sentence based on a valid legal ground proven by a preponderance of the evidence. The second step is whether the trial court decides whether it should impose a downward departure based on the totality of the circumstances. As to both the non-statutory grounds that have been argued and the grounds contained within Section 921.0026, subsection 2, subsection B, in reviewing the trial court's notes, what has been argued by both the defense and also, as well, the court's relying on the record itself, court will find that there is a ground for non-statutory downward departure, but it declines to exercise its discretion. As to the statutory ground, I will find that both the defendant was an accomplice to the offense and a relative minor participant in the criminal conduct. I will find that has not been proven, but in addition to, the court would still decline to exercise its discretion. As to the sentence in this matter, Ms. Adelson, please rise. Level of planning and coordination to bring the murder of Professor Markel to fruition was significant in this case. These were not crimes of chance or opportunity, and these crimes also required you to conspire with your son and others. You certainly can choose to deny your involvement and maintain innocence. The court finds the evidence in this case is clear. You will be sentenced accordingly this afternoon. The jury has found you guilty on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit first-degree murder, and the court previously adjudicated you guilty as to these same charges on September 4th of this year. On count 1 of the indictment for first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or release, pursuant to sections 782.04 and 775.082 sub 1 sub A Florida statutes. On count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to 30 years in the Department of Corrections that will run consecutive to count 1. The court will also sentence you to 30 years in the Department of Corrections on count 3. Counts 2 and 3 are to run concurrent with each other, but consecutive to count 1. As to the fees and costs, the clerk can please announce those at this time.
$2,100 as a fine pursuant to section 775.083, $105 as the 5% surcharge required by section 938.04, $20 as a court cost pursuant to section 938.06, crime stop trust fund, $3 as a court cost pursuant to section 938.01, subsection 1, criminal justice trust fund, $50 pursuant to section 938.03, crimes compensation trust fund, $225 pursuant to section 938.05, local government criminal justice trust fund, $2 as a court cost pursuant to section 938.15, county criminal justice education, $50 as a court cost pursuant to section 775.083, subsection 2, county crime prevention, $65 as a court cost pursuant to section 939.185, county additional court costs, and $3 as a court cost pursuant to section 938.19, team court assessments.
Is there any lawful objection by the defense to these assessments?
No, Your Honor.
They will be assessed at this time. The cost of prosecution, the court will reserve jurisdiction on to determine for 60 days. If a hearing needs to take place concerning this matter, that will take place at a future time. As to the defense's request for the court to make a recommendation to the Department of Corrections to place Mrs. Adelson in a facility near Miami-Dade County, I have no problem making this recommendation. The Department of Corrections will have the final say because this is an administrative matter. I will also recommend to the department that Mrs. Adelson is not to be placed in any unit or facility that would also house Catherine McVanawa. The court did previously award to the state, based on the September 17, 2024 continuance of the trial, costs that were related to that. Ms. Kappelman, part of what you're seeking to pursue, is that included within that, or is that a separate number?
Are you speaking of the costs that were ordered in Charlie Adelson's trial?
No. the day Daniel Rashbaum withdrew from the case and the trial had to be continued.
Okay.
All costs related to moving witnesses and other matters.
Yes, sir. I don't know the answer to that, but I'll make sure that they're only in there once.
Very well. The defendant is to be fingerprinted, 30 days to appeal. Please file the appeal promptly.
Donna, may I approach the clerk? We have put I had written on the letters that I had, so we put a composite together and I've shown it to Mrs. Kaufman, who has no objection.
Please place the sticker on them so that way they can be admitted.
No objection.
We are in recess.
What if I told you that a 75-year-old grandmother from a wealthy Miami family orchestrated one of the most calculated contract killings in modern American history? A murder so methodical that it took investigators over a decade to unravel the truth. This is the story of Donna Adelson, who stood in a Tallahassee courtroom on October 13th, 2025, and received a mandatory life sentence without parole for first-degree murder, plus 30 additional years. She became the fifth person imprisoned in a murder-for-hire plot that shocked Florida and captivated the nation. How does a grandmother become a convicted killer? What drives someone to pay $100,000 to have their former son-in-law executed in his own driveway? Before we dive into this twisted tale, subscribe to Dark Trail Files right now. We bring you the most compelling, thoroughly researched true crime content that goes beyond the headlines. We don't just tell you what happened, we show you why it matters. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss cases like this one that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Subscribe to Dark Trail Files now. Daniel Markel was a brilliant Florida State University law professor whose life was brutally cut short on July 18, 2014. That morning, Dan returned from the gym and pulled his Honda Accord into his Benton Hills garage. As he sat in his driver's seat, 2 bullets were fired into his head at close range. He died the next day at 41 years old. The execution-style murder immediately told investigators this was professional, planned, a hit. But who would want a law professor dead? The answer lay in a bitter custody battle. Dan had been married to Wendy Adelson, a fellow attorney and member of a prominent South Florida family. They divorced in 2013, and what followed was a contentious custody dispute over their 2 young sons. Wendy wanted to relocate the boys from Tallahassee to South Florida, where her family lived in luxury. Her parents, Donna and Harvey Adelson, and her brother Charlie Adelson, a successful periodontist, all wanted the children close. But Dan refused. Under Florida law, he had every right to keep his children near him. A judge sided with Dan, denying Wendy's petition. For the Adelson family, particularly Donna, this decision was unacceptable. Evidence at trial revealed emails between Donna and Wendy showing Donna pushing relentlessly for relocation at any cost. Donna suggested offering Dan $1 million to let Wendy take the boys. She encouraged threatening to convert the children from Judaism to Catholicism to hurt Dan. These weren't suggestions from a concerned grandmother. These were calculated pressure tactics from a woman who would stop at nothing. Prosecutors described the murder as one of convenience, a way to eliminate the obstacle between Donna and her desire to have her grandchildren close. The path from frustration to murder required money, connections, and crossing a line most people never approach. What Donna didn't realize was that her son Charlie was about to connect their wealthy Miami family to the criminal underworld in ways that would eventually expose them all. The question is, did Donna know what Charlie was planning, or was she pulling the strings all along? Watch as Wendy Adelson, in the immediate aftermath of learning about her ex-husband's death, makes a phone call that would become crucial evidence.
Okay, here goes. This is the worst day of my life. Maybe I should text them if I can't reach them. Hi, Mom. How's it going? Mom, I need you to sit down. I am fine. The boys are fine. I need you to sit down. I'm fine, and the boys are fine. Danny has been. You can put me on speaker. Yeah. Danny has been shot. And I don't think he's gonna make it. And so I know. So I found this out around 1 or 2 today, and I'm at the police station, and I'm trying to help them figure out who may have done this. The boys are fine. I had Lynn and Alan pick them up from school, and they're with Lynn and Alan right now. And I'm gonna leave here soon and go be with them. But I really need you to come here and be with me. But I want you to either fly, obviously you can't leave right now, but I need you to get yourself together. If it's too much to drive, I'd really rather that you flew up. I'm at the police station, and I'm gonna leave soon and be with the boys before they go to bed. They're with Alan and Lynn, and they're totally fine. Yeah, the boys are fine, but they don't know anything yet. In his house, I know. So I just need you to calm down before you get in the car, okay? Okay, so, and it's evening, so if you want to come here tomorrow, I have a lot of people that'll, be here with me, and, we'll have a lot of support. So I want you to take your time and just be safe in getting here, but I'd like you to come when you can, okay? Yeah. Okay, all right. I love you. I think Jane might, I have the car here, but Jane might take me. I'm not going to be alone, so I have a lot of support, and I'll be fine. Yeah, if you could just come here, that would be great. He's in the ICU in the hospital. Okay, but be careful, okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, love you too. Bye. Mom. Oh.
You did awesome with that call.
Thanks.
You were so stressed out about it, and you handled it.
If he goes to the house,
Sorry, my mom might be calling back because she heard me. Mom? You did, yeah. I just wanted to ask if you could just tell Charlie for me. I just don't want to be making calls right now, so if you could just tell Charlie for me, that would be great. Okay, and just, it's on the news a little bit that there was a shooting on Trescott, and so I'm starting to get a lot of calls, and I'm not going to be answering them unless they're from you, so I would really try not to tell anybody what's going on just yet, just because, he's in the hospital, and I talked to Charlie earlier today, obviously before any of this happened. I talked to him at 10 this morning, and he said that he was coming to visit you guys this weekend, and he had plans, and he sounded good. I just can't, Mom. So can you just tell him? Yeah, just tell him for me, and then I'm sure I'll talk to him soon. But I don't want to be on the phone unless I have to right now. Okay. Okay, all right. Love you too. Bye. My mom handled that pretty well. Could you hear her?
Yeah. I think, because you're a mama, but moms always go in that natural instinct to kind of protect and help and...
Yeah. I'm waiting to hear from you whenever you can. That's Jane. When she said she's here if I need company or a ride, do you think she meant here metaphysically, or here in the lobby?
No, I think I would hope metaphysically. And again, remind me, Jane's the neighbor down the street that oh no, Jane.
Whoa. What kind of a rude way to say it?
The prosecution proved that Donna wasn't just aware of the murder plot. She was its architect, working with her son, Charlie. Charlie was dating Catherine Magbanua in 2014, a woman whose ex-partner was Sigfrido Garcia, a man with connections to the Latin Kings gang. Garcia's close friend, Luis Rivera, was also involved in that world. Charlie approached the murder-for-hire scheme through Catherine, who served as the go-between. The price was $100,000. Catherine Magbanua testified at Donna's trial, providing devastating details. She went to Charlie's house the night of the murder to collect payment for herself and the two hitmen. Charlie told her his parents had just left. When Catherine later asked why the cash was damp and moldy, Charlie said his mother had physically washed it. Donna Adelson had allegedly washed $100,000 in cash to remove any traces connecting it to the family. This wasn't the act of someone unaware. This was active participation in covering up a crime. The financial trail continued. In the months following Dan's murder, Catherine began receiving paychecks from the Adelson dental practice. Over 2 years, she received 44 checks, all signed by Donna. Catherine never worked at the dental practice. These payments, prosecutors argued, were hush money to ensure Catherine's silence. When confronted, Donna's attorneys claimed she simply signed them at Charlie's direction, but prosecutors painted a different picture, a mother and son working together, using the family business to funnel money to a co-conspirator. Communication between Donna and Charlie was extensive. Catherine testified that many times before the murder, when Charlie discussed the arrangement with her, he would step away to call his mother. While Charlie never explicitly told Catherine he was informing Donna, the pattern was clear and repeated. If Donna and Charlie thought they had committed the perfect crime, they were about to discover that law enforcement was closing in. An FBI sting operation would test their nerves and reveal just how much they knew. Would they confess or continue denying everything? This is the moment when the FBI's elaborate undercover operation came face to face with Donna Adelson.
Black shorts. What is it? Yeah. Okay, bye. Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen.
You're scared.
No, don't be scared. Listen, I just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Luca for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times, and we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuzo. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
Pause it, please. Does the defendant remain under surveillance for some time after this?
She does.
Okay, we see her take the paper from the undercover and fold it and put it into her purse. Does she ever take it out and look at it before she gets back into her building?
Not that we ever saw, no.
And does she make any phone calls once she goes back into her building?
When she goes back into her building, she does.
And who is the first person that the defendant calls after the bump?
Charlie Adelson.
All right, is that call A?
It is.
Okay, publish call A, please.
Hey, Hans. Tonight after work or some other time in the very near future, I need to speak with you. Okay. Okay.
Did someone write a letter to you or something?
I've got some paperwork hand delivered to me.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was, but I'm going to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, I can be, I'll have to figure out something. Depends how late you'll be, wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Park Boulevard.
Okay.
So I'm right now in Skyline Chili, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
Okay. So the boys who finished their piano lesson around 4-ish, and I've got the traffic over there, and they take a ride with them up there.
Does Dad know about it?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's, I can't, is it IRS?
You know, the IRS people, they're kind of bother you sometimes, but, you know, fortunately not known.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way. Okay? And,
Is Wendy all right? Is it involved Wendy?
No. So let me just talk to you later, and
What is it? Is there health okay?
Yeah.
Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of them.
What's that?
Probably the two of them. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. So let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the boys for a ride, okay?
You're going to take the boys up there?
No, maybe they can come home. Maybe we can get here till about 7 when Dad gets here.
So this morning you talked to me today?
Tomorrow, and it's important.
All right. Well, I'll be up at Mitch Klein's office. You want to come up? Oh yeah, for really.
I'm just concerned that I have to get up there and get back in time for Lindsay to get them. Sometimes she gets out a little earlier, but not kind of not here.
Can I ask you a question? Who's paperwork sent from?
I see that, that's great. It was something that came hand to hand to me as I exited the building today.
Was it anonymous or?
No, oh no, it's not anonymous. It's not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it on the phone.
Right, whatever it is. It's silly, but if you want,
I wouldn't bother you, trust me.
Yeah, you want me to come down to see you tomorrow? I have to have the day off.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Dad actually works later tomorrow. You know, he goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 9:30 to 10:30. So
whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the IRS.
I just would like you to review it and give me some input into what your thoughts are. Okay? So come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 would be good.
12 tomorrow.
Yeah, he leaves at 12. He starts at 1 there, so 12, 12:15.
I'll come down after that. Everything I'll do and see you next week.
That would be great.
Perfect. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Love you to come by.
Would you describe the defendant's demeanor on this call as really calm?
Yes,
She says Dad's at work, fortunately.
she does.
Does she indicate that she's in fear on the call?
No, she does not.
She was handed a piece of paper that had an article about the murder of Dan Markel, right?
Correct.
That's what the interaction was about.
That's correct. That's what he handed her and made reference to it.
And when Charlie asked the defendant what it's about. What does she say?
She says the both of us,
Probably both of us. Probably the two of us.
and then the two of us. Said it twice.
Does she say the name Dan Markel on this call?
No, she does not.
Does she say the name Dan Markel anywhere on this wire?
No, not that I recall.
Did she report this incident to the police?
No, she did not.
For years, the investigation stalled. The two hitmen, Luis Rivera and Sigfrido Garcia, were arrested in 2016, but connections to the Adelsons remained circumstantial. In 2016, an undercover FBI agent approached Donna, pretending to work for Luis Rivera. He suggested Rivera had information about the contract killing that implicated the Adelson family, and Rivera was willing to keep quiet for a price. Donna's reaction was telling. She didn't call the police. Her first instinct was to call Charlie. The wiretap conversation became damaging evidence. On that recorded call, played for the jury, she told Charlie they needed to meet in person to discuss a situation that probably had to do with both of them. She didn't mention the murder explicitly, but her words carried unmistakable implication. Prosecutors argued this call was essentially a confession, proof that mother and son shared a guilty secret. Catherine Magbanua was convicted in 2022 for facilitating the murder plot. Sigfrido Garcia was convicted of being the triggerman. Luis Rivera, who took a plea deal in 2016, testified against the others. Then in November 2023, Charlie Adelson went to trial. Unlike his mother would later do, he testified in his own defense, claiming he was being extorted. The jury didn't believe him. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. 1 week after Charlie's conviction, Donna and Harvey Adelson went to Miami International Airport with one-way tickets to Vietnam. For investigators, this was the final evidence they needed. Why would an innocent person flee immediately after their son's conviction? This is the dramatic moment when law enforcement stopped Donna at the airport, ending her attempt to flee.
You have your ID? No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to? Because my attorney said not to. Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Evidence. Do me a favor? She's under arrest. I have to go with you. I have to go. I have to go. You don't have that choice. I can help you also. No, I have to stay. Please come to this. Don't stay. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags. Yeah. And you need to wait outside. Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't come with me?
Please, can I help? No, you can't do it. Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's got to help him get home. It's terrible. You can't do this. This is insane.
Is that okay with you? Please. Please put that with handcuffs on her. She's not going anywhere. Please. Please. Do you have anything in your pocket?
No, no.
Do you have anything of value in you?
No, I
Plus, you have a necklace on you.
Wanna go?
You can take it off.
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
And the rings, take everything. You give it to your husband. Because once you arrive at County Yale, they're gonna make you remove all that.
Can I call my attorney?
You can get the passport ready.
Where am I going?
Just open your finger.
Where am I going?
You're going to the Dade County Jail.
Dade County Yale. No, this is right here. The one on.
They're coming in minutes. No problem. You can no problem.
I'm sorry, remove for hearings? Yeah. I'll call.
Get in Uber, go home.
I will.
Take
I will.
it easy.
I will.
All right?
Yes.
Here, hon.
Good. There's anything else in her person that she wants.
Oh, it's coming, sweetheart. It's coming. Just a second.
Do you have her driver's license by any chance?
I'm sorry?
Her driver's.
It's in my
Yeah.
It's in my purse.
Yeah. Yeah, then you could give her.
Sure. Do you need her passport? Or can I give it to the husband? The passport can I give it to the husband?
What though?
Where is it?
It's in the blue and white. It's in the blue and white.
Yeah, but I'm going to get a driver's license for it.
The license, the address on your license is correct?
Yes.
She needs all her.
When she goes to the
jail, they work
They're all in here though.
Yes, they work. If I take them here, what will happen is when you go there, they toss them out. So when you go to there, you will meet the nurse and the doctor, and then they'll work in conjunction with the hospital to get you whatever you need.
Yeah, but I don't have a list with me. I know what. I have a.
Is it multiple or is just one or two?
There's a bag of medication in here. Is that what you're asking me?
No, I know. I was just trying to find out if it was like one or two. Yeah, if it was one or two, then she maybe could take the name down.
Do you need anything else from her?
Can I ask you something? Can someone just get my husband outside?
So I'll get it. There's a gentleman here with a system and anything there.
I have the ring. Hold on.
Let me have the ring, please. No, I love you.
Okay, thanks. All right.
Donna was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. She was 73 years old. Recorded jailhouse calls reveal Donna had discussed taking her own life as an alternative to facing prosecution. The judge ordered the sheriff's office to ensure she couldn't harm herself. Would Donna take the stand and try to convince a jury of her innocence? Or would she remain silent? Her decision would shock the courtroom and seal her fate in ways she couldn't have imagined. Donna's trial began in August 2025. Prosecutors presented evidence from the FBI sting, wiretap calls, and testimony from Catherine Magbanua and alleged co-conspirators. They showed financial records documenting payments to Catherine through the dental practice. They demonstrated the close relationship between Donna and Charlie. The courtroom atmosphere was tense as testimony unfolded from within the Adelson family circle.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name and spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Sure. Robert Todd Adelson, Adelson.
Thank you. And what state do you currently live in?
New York.
And how long have you lived in New York?
13 years.
Okay, so since maybe 2012?
Yes.
All right. What do you do for a living in New York?
I'm an ENT.
Okay, so ear, nose, and throat doctor?
Yes.
And how long have you worked as an ENT?
For 20 years.
How do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
She's my mother.
And Harvey Adelson's your dad?
Yes.
Wendy and Charlie Adelson are your siblings?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
In Coral Springs, Florida.
Is that a bit north of Miami?
Yep.
About how long of a drive?
About an hour north of Miami.
Okay. When y'all were growing up, did you all, the 5 of you, live in the same house as a family?
Yes.
And who's the oldest child?
I am.
Okay. Who's the middle child?
Charlie.
How many years between you and Charlie?
3 years between Charlie and I.
And then who's the youngest then is Wendy?
Yes.
And how many years between Charlie and Wendy?
3 years.
Okay. When you were 18, did you move out of the Coral Springs house?
Yes, when I went to college.
Okay. And did you go to college at University of Florida?
I went to Tulane.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Did you live in Gainesville at some point?
I did, yes.
Okay, thank you. So after you went to college at Tulane and then went on to med school, went on to residency, throughout those years, did you continue to talk to your parents and your siblings on a regular basis?
Yes.
And would you see them a couple of times a year?
Yes.
When you were in school, would you go home for the summer?
Yes.
Based on your personal observations throughout your life of your parents and of your siblings, who is the leader in the family? Who tends to run the show?
I think my mom.
Okay, so Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Would you describe Donna Adelson's personality as being more controlling or more laid back?
I think more on the controlling side.
What about, is she kind of a more assertive person or a more passive person?
A more assertive.
What about your dad, Harvey Adelson? What's his personality like?
I think he's more passive, more go with the flow.
Okay. So they're kind of opposites in that way a bit? Yeah. When you and your siblings were growing up, was Donna Adelson a very involved parent?
Yes.
And when I say involved, as far as with your life and with your friends and with school and with that type of thing?
Absolutely.
Did she have certain fixed ideas throughout your life of certain things she wanted to happen in you and your siblings' life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it acceptable if you decided to not do those certain things that she was fixated she wanted you to do? Was that acceptable to her or no? No. I think she had certain sort of rigid, fixed ideas or impressions for what she wanted for us, and if you went along with that, things were fine. If you didn't, things were not fine. Did she have strong opinions about who you all married and what you all did for a living and those types of things? Yes. And you're obviously a doctor. Was that an acceptable profession to her? Yeah, that was okay. Okay. And was that one of the reasons you became a doctor? Yes. Okay. How involved was Donna in yours, Charlie, and Wendy Adelson's life after you grew up, became adults, and had kids of your own? I think still involved. Was she more involved with your life, Charlie's life, or Wendy's life, would you say? Probably more involved with Wendy and probably to a lesser degree with Charlie. Okay. And then would you be she's the least involved with your life out of the three? Yeah, probably because I was older, but sure, I agree. Okay, so you're the oldest child. You're out of the house before the other two? Yep. Okay, and then you also lived other places after you went to college throughout the rest of your life? Yes. Now, was this like a healthy level of involvement that she had with the three of your lives, or was it more of like a micromanaging as you saw it? I think it was certainly between over-involved and controlling. It probably lended itself more toward controlling, but there's in various realms, more or less. But I think certainly that was the tension. Okay, so a little more on the controlling side. Yes. And does that include your personal lives as far as your relationships and in your professions, your jobs? Yes. Was it Charlie who always needed more attention than the other two children? I think so, yes. When did Wendy's life start becoming one that she needed to pay or give more attention to?
I think when she had some troubles in her marriage, I wasn't aware there were any troubles in her marriage until Wendy left. But I think around that time when she had 2 young children, I think that was when she became more involved. And I was, at that point living, a pretty good distance away.
Okay. Were you living in Philadelphia at the time?
Yeah, but first in Philly and then in New York, where we live now.
Okay. And so Charlie always got a lot of attention, and then Donna also started giving her attention also to Wendy's life once Wendy starts going through the separation or divorce.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. From your interactions with Donna Adelson through your whole life growing up and even as an adult, would you describe her as someone who's mentally sharp, thinking about things from all angles, or is she someone who's a little more gullible? Yes, sir.
Objection is sustained. You may continue with your examination.
Were Charlie and Donna Adelson dependent on each other or pretty independent from each other?
I would say Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff, his dental practice. I think he probably relied on her a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned the dental practice. When you were growing up, who owned the dental practice?
My dad.
Okay. And throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I wouldn't know the inside workings of it, but I always remember my mom signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table, when I was back in middle school or high school. So.
Okay. So even back then, she would do some bookkeeping or payroll type things at home.
That's my memory of it.
Okay. And then, did the dental practice? You said it obviously started out at Harvey's. Do you remember a time when Charlie Adelson took over?
I remember my dad making a joke about him having a very understanding boss because Charlie was now his boss. So.
Do not testify to what others have stated out of court. You may testify as to your knowledge, but not what someone else specifically said. The objection is sustained. You may continue.
I understand you were telling us how you remember that, but can you just tell us around what year do you remember that happening?
Around 2012, Charlie purchased the practice.
Okay, and then was there a time that you remember Charlie somehow selling it back to Harvey Adelson as then becoming the head of the practice again?
I will permit you to answer the question if you have knowledge of this matter.
My memory of that was sometime in fall to winter of 2015 to 16, somewhere right around there. That's my memory.
Okay, so fall to winter of 2015.
Turning into 2016. That's my memory.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Donna Adelson doing payroll at Adelson Institute throughout your life. If someone were to ask Donna Adelson, or if someone asked Donna Adelson to do something, is she the type of person that just snaps to it, or does she have some questions first?
Overall, this is not going to motion. You may answer the question.
No, I don't think she would just snap to and do what someone told her to.
Okay. Is she the type of person who's going to have some questions if you ask her to do something?
Yes, I think she would definitely have some questions.
Okay. How did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel when he and Wendy first got together and were headed towards marriage?
He was very positive about him.
Okay, so he was somebody she approved of.
Yes.
All right, and how did that change as Wendy and Danny's relationship soured? They ended up moving towards divorce.
So I really only heard anything bad about Danny after Wendy moved out. I didn't hear anything bad about him prior to that date.
Okay, so just kind of went from everything's fine to then hearing bad things about him.
Yes.
And when you say hearing bad things about him, like from her? From Donna Adelson,
yes.
Sorry? Okay. And how did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel in 2014?
I mean, she hated him.
Would this come from, your knowledge of that, come from things that she would say to you?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Did you observe that Wendy played a bit of a damsel in distress, in your opinion, in the divorce?
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe it.
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce?
I apologize. Did Donna Adelson? I apologize. Can I hear the question
sorry,
again?
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy and Dan Markel's divorce?
Some. I mean, the phrase that sticks in my head is that Danny was depoing Wendy to death. I wasn't involved with all the various motions. I remember that phrase. I remember there being a lot of court motions back and forth. But I remember that phrase. I remember some complaints about like very long either mediation or depositions that Wendy had to endure.
Okay, so this is Donna saying Wendy's having to go through these things.
Yes.
Okay, and just telling you about it.
Yes.
How did Donna tell you that, or did she tell you that how Wendy was planning to leave Dan Markel and give him the news that she was leaving the marriage?
I think you're going to need to rephrase this in such a way the witness can answer, Ms. Dugan.
How did Donna Adelson describe to you how Wendy Adelson left the marriage?
Object to hearsay.
Ms. Dugan, please approach.
Okay.
You may continue your examination, Ms. Dugan.
Okay, so I was asking you about this text that you received from Wendy Adelson. Can you tell me about this text?
Sure. She texted me that she was going to Gainesville for the weekend, and this was 2014. So I last lived in Gainesville about 3 years prior to that. I mentioned that she wanted that. I mentioned the name of Jeff. I asked who was Jeff. The response was my boyfriend. I responded I didn't know. And she said, you wouldn't, I didn't hear it from the parents. She says, they don't know. And so it just struck me as, and then she sent me some pictures of Jeff with her and the boys. It struck me as unique because she'd never shared the name or photograph of a boyfriend before.
Okay, so.
Before you continue, Ms. Dugan, members of the jury, as to the last question and response, you are not to consider the hearsay statement for the truth of the matter asserted. You may continue.
Okay. So it was unusual for her to talk to you about boyfriends at all?
Yes.
But you also felt it was unusual that she's telling you about this boyfriend when even your parents don't know about him yet?
Right.
And she was closer to her parents at the time than you?
Correct.
Okay. What date was that text message sent?
The very end of June, like 26 or 28 of 14, that last weekend.
Okay, so it was prior to 4th of July weekend?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember where in those photographs Wendy is with her sons and Jeff?
Like Wakulla Springs, something like that.
Okay.
And they were in front of a board that said that.
And did you let her know you wouldn't mention him to her parents or to your parents?
Yes.
Did that strike you as so unusual that after Dan Markel was murdered, you felt, I guess, compelled to tell police, like, hey, I heard she has this boyfriend she hasn't told anybody about named Jeff?
Yes, I did. The FBI came to my house and I spoke to them once, and either it didn't come up or, it's a bit nerve-wracking talking to the FBI, and that they didn't ask any questions about that. And then, I guess over the ensuing week, I'd heard about like this Prius and this unsolved murder, and I remembered, it struck me as odd that I was sent these photographs of a boyfriend and not to tell the parents about him, and so that's when I wanted to have a clean conscience. So I reached out to the FBI and I said, I don't know if this matters, but I figured I would, tell you about this, and they came back for a second interview and looked at the pictures.
Okay. When is your father, Harvey Adelson's birthday?
July 5.
Okay, so on July 5th of 2014, how old would he have turned that year?
70.
Okay, and this is about 2 to 3 weeks before Dan Markel was killed?
Yes.
Did your family do anything to celebrate his birthday that year?
Yes, we had a party at their condo.
Okay. Was there a gift from the family or from any of you to him?
No. I remember an email, and my dad is not someone who wants gifts or a big deal made about him, and so the email is something like, your dad doesn't want gifts; he just wants all of his kids to be with him on his birthday.
And was that from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
So she's basically letting you know you and your kids coming is going to be his gift.
Correct.
And everybody, all the kids and grandkids being
Correct.
there. Okay. Did the family ever discuss going on a cruise?
No, not with me.
When a birthday gift is given for somebody in the family, does Donna Adelson typically say, we're going to get him this, everybody owes this much, everybody's going to pay a third, or whatever it is?
Yeah, if there was like a big gift we're getting, or they said, we're getting this for someone, and you can be part of it, that was not uncommon.
Okay. So tell us about the party. You said it was at the Continuum?
Yes, at their apartment.
Okay, so is that like a condo building in Miami?
Yeah, on Miami Beach.
Okay, on Miami Beach, like South Beach?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it a secure building?
It's very secure. It was, we were staying at a hotel down the street, and there was armed guards, and apparently there's a lot of celebrities that live there. It was a very high, very secure building. Okay.
And these celebrities that live there, were they people that you knew of? I mean, you knew who they were?
Sure, yeah, A-Rod.
Did these people have kind of guards of their own, too, in the building?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So the guards that you saw were the guards in the front?
Yes.
All right. Had your parents, how recently had they moved to the Continuum?
I got the idea, it was certainly less than a year, I don't remember exactly, but it seemed like they said they were going to try living down in South Beach to see if they liked it for their retirement, and so it had to be sometime, before, because they were pretty well moved in there. But I don't remember the exact time, but if I'm guessing, maybe 6 months before or something like that.
Okay, so by the weekend of the party, July 5th, are they fully moved into their condo there?
Yes.
Okay, and are they living there full time? From what you know?
It seemed like that, but I couldn't. I know they still own the house in Coral Springs, so I don't know if they're just there on the weekends, but I couldn't say definitively, but it looked like they were living there fully.
Okay. Was his party on his actual birthday or another day of the week?
No, on his actual birthday.
All right. Was your brother Charlie there that weekend?
Yes.
Wendy and her sons, were they there?
Yes.
Was the party catered?
Yeah, there was, yes.
What type of food did you have?
There were like past hors d'oeuvres, and then there was a paella chef on the balcony.
Okay. Was the party a surprise for Harvey?
No.
So you were never told, don't tell him about it, it's a surprise,
no.
Anything like that? Don't tell him. Were you not supposed to tell him anything about the party that was a surprise?
No, there was nothing about a surprise birthday.
Was there ever a time in the weeks leading up to the party that you heard that the party may be canceled for any reason?
No, never.
All right, so how did you first hear about Dan Markel's murder?
I heard the day after the shooting occurred, so that would be Saturday, July 19. I was at a meeting in Chicago, and I think I got a phone call first, and that I was in a meeting, and so I just said can I call you later? And then I got a text message shortly thereafter, right before 10 in the morning, that said tragedy here, please call.
And are these from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Okay. So were you able to call her that morning from the conference in Chicago?
Yeah, so I walked out and went to the hotel lobby and just hit call.
Okay, and tell us about that conversation with her.
So it's one of those moments that you'll just remember forever. So I remember being in the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible had happened, and but I wasn't ready for it. She said, so we just want to let you know that Danny's been shot, and they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And it didn't make any sense. And I probably asked a few medical questions, and they said they're driving up to go help Wendy, and we'll talk to you later. We can't talk now.
Okay. Was she crying in that conversation?
Not in that conversation.
Sir?
No, she was not.
Okay.
It was very matter of fact.
Did she ever give you any further detail that weekend about how he'd been shot, or other than just Danny was shot and he didn't make it?
I think it was the next day. So the only really other time that I spoke with him that weekend, I was in the airport going home, like Sunday afternoon. So it was definitely the next day, and it was the first time I could actually have any kind of conversation. And one of the things that she told me is, it bothered me, but I didn't have any other details about. But she said that, someone went to the front door and said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then shot him. And then I said, "Well, how could you know that? Who's telling you that?" And she said, "Well, that's just what they're telling us." And
Okay. So she said someone told her that someone knocked on Danny's door, said, "Are you Dan Markel?" He said yes, and the shooter shot him.
That's the story I heard, and later we found out that wasn't what happened. But that story bothered me a lot because there's only one way you could hear that story.
Was she crying when she told you that information?
No.
You mentioned earlier that law enforcement contacted you after Dan Markel's murder. Did they contact you to try to see if you knew any information?
Yeah, they came to our house. I was already at work, and so they talked to my wife. It had to be a Wednesday or Thursday, so I was already at work.
And is this your house in New York?
Yes.
Okay. Did you end up talking to law enforcement and letting them, answering their questions, letting them know what you knew?
Yeah, they came to my office the next day, and we with two agents, and we had an interview.
Okay. After that conversation with, you said it was the FBI earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. After that conversation with the FBI, did Donna Adelson ever say anything to you about having talked to law enforcement or the FBI?
It was either that afternoon or the next day, but and she called me and said, just want to let you know, if the police come around, don't talk to them.
Okay, so she told you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
Did you let her know that you already had talked to law enforcement?
Yeah, I said I already did.
And what did she say to that?
She said, "Oh, well, you don't know anything anyway."
You don't know anything anyway?
Correct.
Was that an unusual statement coming from your mother?
Yeah, everything that week was unusual, but I clearly didn't know anything, but I wasn't going to not talk to the FBI if they show up at my house.
How did you respond? Let me ask you this. After the murder of Dan Markel, did Donna Adelson seem curious about who killed Dan Markel?
No.
Was there a complete lack of curiosity?
Yeah, nobody seemed curious.
Did you actually ever ask her, like after the murder, like, hey, like, what do you think happened? What do you?
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged, and it was probably like maybe sometime like mid-August, when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? This was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety, and I said, what do you guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
Yeah, it was an unsolved murder of my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. If it was like some neighborhood gossip, people would be interested. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about who did this to Danny.
Wendy Adelson testified at her mother's trial. When prosecutors asked what information she had about her mother's involvement, Wendy said she didn't have any information. But during cross-examination, when asked to confirm that anyone involved should be held responsible, including herself, Wendy agreed. The implication hung in the air. Wendy revealed she hadn't spoken to her mother since November 2023 after Charlie's conviction. She testified that Donna had encouraged her to testify in a way that would help Charlie, and was upset when Wendy's testimony wasn't helpful to her brother. Donna's defense called 12 witnesses over 2 days, including longtime friends who testified she was caring and incapable of such a crime. They called Wendy's former divorce lawyer, who said the custody battle wasn't as contentious as claimed. The defense strategy was clear: paint Donna as an overbearing mother, not a murderer. They argued Charlie alone paid for the hit, that Donna simply signed checks without understanding their purpose. Then came the pivotal moment. Throughout the trial, her attorneys signaled Donna might testify. On the afternoon before closing arguments, Donna struggled with the decision. "I'm not prepared to make that decision. This decision affects the rest of my life," she told Judge Stephen Everett. The judge was unsympathetic. "You're in the same position as every other criminal defendant who faces trial. Ultimately, you must decide whether you will testify or whether you will not." After a long silence, Donna said, "At this time, I don't want to testify." In choosing silence, she gave up her only chance to personally defend herself. Defense attorney Jackie Fulford made a memorable closing argument. "She's a meddler, not a murderer," Fulford told the jury. The prosecution reminded them of all the evidence: the financial records, the phone calls, Catherine's testimony about washed money and checks. They emphasized that Donna's first call after the FBI sting wasn't to police, but to her son. On September 4th, 2025, after 3 hours of deliberation, the jury reached their verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. Donna gasped. "Oh my God," she said, bursting into sobs. Guilty on all 3 counts: first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. Dan Markel's parents addressed the court. Ruth Markel said, "At its core, this was a murder of convenience so that one grandmother could live closer to her grandchildren. She killed their father and ripped the children from the other grandparents' lives." Phil Markel said, "For Donna, I wish her to live to 120 alone in her jail cell. I wish that every day she thinks about the harm she caused to so many, especially those 2 boys she claims to have loved so much." Looking at Donna, he asked, "Was it worth it?" Donna faced sentencing, but she wasn't going quietly. Would she show remorse, finally admit what she had done, or continue proclaiming her innocence right until the judge imposed her sentence? Even from behind bars, the connection between mother and son remained strong.
Witness stand. Yeah. Please raise your right hand as best as you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Yes. You may take the seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You may examine Mr. Zellman when you're ready. Thank you, Your Honor. Just a moment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and make sure you speak in the microphone?
Yes, Donna Adelson.
Now, I want to direct your attention, we heard the call earlier. The call on November 7th of 2023 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and for the record, that was call number 561. Do you remember where you worked?
Yes, I was in my apartment, in my living room.
Do you remember who was present when you got the call?
Yes, my husband, Harvey, and friends of mine, my attorney, Susan Brotman, and her husband, Richard Shavrin.
You said your attorney, what kind of law does Ms. Brotman practice? Or did she?
She does estate planning.
Was Ms. Brotman present at your apartment for the purposes of providing you with legal counsel?
Yes, she was.
And do you remember receiving the call from Charlie?
Yes, of course.
And where was Charlie at the time?
So he was in a room by himself. It was after the conviction.
Was he in jail?
He was in jail.
Okay. What did you do when you saw that Charlie was calling?
Answered the phone.
And you heard the recording that we played earlier?
Yes.
And you agreed for your call with your son to be recorded, correct?
Yes.
As the call was happening, do you know at what point Charlie was no longer on the call?
No, only when because I was talking, and then all of a sudden I asked him something, and I said, "Charlie, do you hear me, Charlie?" And I said it a few times, and he didn't respond anymore. And I knew the call was over.
Now, in the course, during the time that your son was incarcerated in Leon County Jail, did that happen more than, was that a frequent occurrence?
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot, unfortunately.
Okay. And would there be times when you didn't realize at first that he was no longer on the call?
Yes.
Where in your apartment were you when this happened?
So I was in my living room.
And you heard your voice on that first call number 562, when you repeated, Charlie, Charlie, are you there?
Right.
Did you believe the call had ended?
Yes.
And what would, in times prior to this, what would happen after that? What would you do when that would happen?
If he didn't respond anymore, that was it. The call was over.
And what would you do with your phone?
I'd hang up.
Now, same thing with the call on November 8th of 2023, the one at 6:38 in the morning. Do you know at what point your son was no longer on the phone?
I don't. I don't remember though.
In either one of those situations, or in both of those situations, did you believe the call was over?
Yeah, the call was over. He was gone.
And you went about your business?
Yes.
Now, with respect to the November 7th, 2023 phone call when your attorney, her husband, and your husband were present at your apartment, did you agree for your attorney-client conversation to be recorded?
No.
Did you agree for your conversation with your husband to be recorded?
No, of course not.
Now, the following day, did you agree for your subsequent conversation with your husband to be recorded?
No.
Heard the recording. To consent to this call, press 1. Or recording of this call, press 1. Correct?
Correct.
You hung up the phone after those calls were over.
But I did.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Good morning.
So there in the room with you during this call was, you said your one of your attorneys, Susan Brotman, your husband, and then also Susan Brotman's husband.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And he was not your attorney?
He was not.
Your attorney?
No, he's not an attorney.
Okay. You were informed at the beginning of that call, this is the one on November 7th that recorded you while they were all in the room. You were informed that you were being recorded if you accepted that call?
Yes.
Okay. And that if you do not want to be on that recorded call, that you needed to hang up the call. Is that right?
Are you saying, does the recording say
Right. If you do not want to accept that recorded call, you should hang up.
If you do not, I accepted the recorded call.
Okay. And you typically do hang up your calls, you said, after
I think I
your
did,
calls with Charlie Adelson when he was in custody. All right, but this particular call that day, evidently you did not properly hang up, right?
Evidently.
Okay. And have you ever forgotten to press the button on a call before?
It may have happened. I don't know.
Sure. Has your phone pocket dialed people before?
Has it what?
Pocket dialed people before? When you've been out of custody.
Pocket dialed?
Right.
I don't know what you mean.
Like if your phone is in your pocket or in your purse and it accidentally calls someone you didn't mean it to?
I mean, that could have happened, sure.
Okay. And you also could have not pressed the button on your cell phone to end a call before, right?
It's possible.
Okay. It's not quite as big of a deal as it used to be when you would actually have to hang up the phone. Right. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Redirect examination.
Briefly, Your Honor. The consent that you gave for the call to be recorded, when did that end?
It ended when Charlie hung up, or when whatever stopped the call. I mean, I don't know how it stopped, but it stopped. When the call was over with Charlie, it was over.
Nothing further.
You may step down.
October 13th, 2025 arrived. Under Florida law, first-degree murder carried a mandatory life sentence without parole. The state didn't seek the death penalty. Harvey Adelson sat in the front row as friends testified on Donna's behalf, saying she was innocent and hadn't received a fair trial. Then Donna addressed the court for the first time. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was a caring and loving father. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, all of us in his family. My heart was broken when Danny died. In these crucial moments, Donna finally broke her silence, and what she said revealed everything about how she saw herself.
She can remain at council table.
Thank you. I'm going to move the microphone. This is not amplified.
Okay. Is this loud enough, Judge?
I can hear you.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markel, was a fine and decent man. He was well educated and passionate about his career. He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father. On July 18th, 2014, his car was followed, leaving his home. It should have been just like any other day, an ordinary day in the life of Ben and Lincoln's father, but it wasn't. He didn't know when he left his boys off at daycare that would be the last time he would see them, and the last time they would see him. He didn't know when he went to the gym afterwards that would be the last time he would exercise. And he didn't know when he drove home that his life would end within minutes. Danny wasn't just being followed, he was being hunted. He was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers. I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. I cannot conceive of his heroic efforts to stay alive during the hours after the attack. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a loss to his children, his parents, his sister, all of us in his family, his friends, his colleagues in the legal community, and to his students at FSU Law School. Danny's boys each have a photo of themselves with their Abba, their dad, beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed photo and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." The pictures and memories are all they have because cruel, cold-hearted people took him from all of us who loved him. My heart was broken when Danny died. My grandsons were going to grow up without the father who loved them. I wondered, how could we help these boys through this trauma? It was then that my husband and I knew that the best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share with these children an abundance of love, the love that Danny would have given them if he were alive. It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine Magbanow's trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charlie Adelson's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder. I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short. And the people who did this are exactly where they deserve to be. But I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place. If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it. With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder? The evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case? Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning?
Before you continue, Mrs. Adelson, as it relates to this statement, is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving Mrs. Adelson an opportunity to be heard.
Mrs. Adelson, you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in this vile and horrific act? Where is the solicitation and conspiracy evidence? The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state couldn't show that because there wasn't any evidence. They were trying an innocent person. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand for hours. Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder. The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet, the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial. And the jury bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Reasonable doubt. Many months ago, my attorneys filed a motion for a change of venue. An expert witness testified that Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9 years of negative social media, printed news, television news, and podcast publicity about my family. He explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that for me to receive a fair trial, it needed to be held in any of the researched and designated areas in the state of Florida other than Tallahassee. All I wanted was a level playing field, but the court wanted the trial here, in the hotbed of Tallahassee. I sat through 3 days of jury selection. 180 potential jurors were asked if they had developed an opinion in my case. Those that answered yes also added, "I believe she is guilty." Not one person, not one, said, "I think she may be innocent." That should have been a clue to the court to grant our motion for a change of venue, but the court denied the motion. One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What moment?
Another juror.
Mrs. Fulford,
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Mr. Zellman, again, this has nothing to do with elocution of any sort. This is a raising of grievances, which are properly given to the appellate court. What does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Just one moment, please.
Turn that phone off or step out. Please.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable, but I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. He would have been embarrassed to have his name associated with any of it. There are 2 crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered. The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loved him. For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these 2 small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself. This is a lifetime of loss for these children. They didn't deserve this. His family didn't deserve this. Danny didn't deserve this. And so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I promise you with my whole heart, I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder. I was not.
Defense have any further argument to make?
Yes, Judge.
Judge, before Ms. Fulford makes the argument, I want to address the comment that the court made a few moments ago concerning considering lack of remorse in fashioning a sentence. In Shepherd v. State 227 Southern 3rd 746, the First District Court of Appeal held that lack of remorse cannot be considered in fashioning an appropriate sentence. If this were a situation where remorse and admission of guilt may be grounds for mitigation, the lack of these factors cannot be used to increase the defendant's sentence, and such reliance violates the defendant's due process rights, and they also rely on Ritter v. State 885 Southern 2nd 413, also a first DCA case.
I believe the Supreme Court has ruled on this issue concerning remorse and lack of showing remorse as well. If you need me to find the citation for you, I will.
Yes, please.
We'll take a 10-minute break.
But her statement took a different turn. It's interesting that the state cannot decide who they believe to be the mastermind behind this. She questioned the evidence. Judge Everett stopped her. The court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse you are displaying. But Donna continued, questioning the evidence again, suggesting the jury was asleep during the state's presentation. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. I've never even gotten a parking ticket, and yet I'm being sent to prison for a crime I did not commit. I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way in Danny's murder. I was not. Rather than showing remorse, Donna used her final opportunity to challenge the verdict itself. Harvey Adelson stood to address the judge. She's done nothing wrong, but is being punished for a crime that she did not commit. She has always been a loving wife and mother. He accused the judge and jury of being biased. Judge Everett stopped his speech. You're sending an innocent person to prison. You have taken my wife and my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. This is vengeance, and it is wrong. Harvey Adelson's emotional plea revealed the family's unwavering stance, even in the face of overwhelming evidence.
Thank you, Judge, and respected officers of the court for allowing me to speak. I have been Donna Adelson's husband for over 50 years. My wife sacrificed everything so that she could pour her heart and soul into our children, our grandchildren, and our marriage. This summer was our 54th wedding anniversary, and I had to spend it without her, hand in mind. She has done nothing wrong, and yet is being punished for a crime that she did not commit. I thought we lived in a different kind of world, but I guess I was wrong. I have listened, watched, and sat in the courtroom for the entire trial, and I could not help but scream in my mind by the witnesses that were brought forward by the prosecution who told outright lies. I didn't know that you could lie in a courtroom, but apparently you can. Danny's parents contend that they have never seen their grandchild. But for years they say they've never seen her. But Wendy has shared with me pictures and videos and letters from their visits. They have suffered immensely at the loss of their son, but they also contend to tell lies to the court about our grandchildren. Donna has always been a loving and caring wife and is innocent of the charges. A biased judge and jury were influenced by years of one-sided news pieces and social media.
Dr. Ms. Fulford, this has nothing to do with the character of the defendant or relates to sentencing.
May I just 1 moment, please?
Go ahead.
Oh,
All right, thank you for letting me continue. Donna did not participate in the heinous acts that she was convicted of doing. You are sending an innocent woman to prison. You have taken my wife and you have taken my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. It is vengeance, and it is wrong.
You have an examination for Dr. Adelson.
No, Your Honor. No, Judge.
Any other witness statements that you wish?
Judge Everett delivered the sentence. Life in prison without parole, plus 30 years for conspiracy and solicitation. He granted a request to place Donna in a facility near Miami so she could be near Harvey. Prosecutor Georgia Kappelman informed the court they were seeking restitution for prosecution costs, estimated at over $723,000. Even during proceedings, Donna made additional claims about her treatment. Donna became the 5th person imprisoned for this murder-for-hire plot. Charlie Adelson, Catherine Magbanua, and Sigfrido Garcia are all serving life without parole. Luis Rivera is serving 19 years as part of his plea deal. One name remained unspoken, but omnipresent: Wendy Adelson. She testified at both trials, consistently denying involvement. She's never been charged, but evidence raised questions about her role. When reporters asked Prosecutor Kappelman after Donna's conviction whether Wendy should be worried about prosecution, Kappelman said, "You can stay tuned." Those 3 words suggested the investigation might not be over. The case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about family loyalty and how far people will go. Donna was not a career criminal. She was a 75-year-old grandmother who had lived a privileged life, never been in trouble with the law. Yet her desire to have her grandchildren close, her inability to accept Dan's legal rights, transformed into something monstrous. The evidence painted a picture of deep involvement, washed money, checks to Catherine signed by Donna, the phone call to Charlie after the FBI sting, the attempted flee to Vietnam. These weren't actions of an innocent person. In her sentencing statement, Donna proclaimed she'd never gotten a parking ticket, suggesting her clean record proved her incapability. But history is filled with people who lived ordinary lives until one decision sent them down an irreversible path. Dan Markel's parents asked a question with no satisfactory answer. Was it worth it? Was it worth destroying so many lives? Taking a father from his children? Spending the rest of her life in prison? Was proximity to grandchildren worth murder? The answer is obviously no. But Donna made calculations that suggested otherwise. She weighed her desires against Dan's life and found his life wanting. Donna will spend every remaining day behind bars. She won't see her grandchildren grow up, celebrate holidays with family, or enjoy the comfort she once knew. She'll exist in a cage, a consequence of choices that seemed unthinkable for a grandmother, but became undeniably real. 5 people in prison for 1 murder. 5 lives destroyed, plus Dan's life taken. And the ripple effects continue. Dan's sons must grow up knowing their father was murdered by members of their mother's family. They carry a burden no child should bear. The Markel family lost not only their son, but contact with their grandchildren. They lost the future they imagined. And what of Wendy? Whether she faces charges or not, she must live knowing her mother and brother were convicted of killing her ex-husband. It took over a decade to bring Donna to trial. Some argue the system worked, that despite the Adelson family's wealth, justice prevailed. Others question whether justice delayed is justice at all. What cannot be questioned is the finality. Donna was given every opportunity to defend herself. She had experienced attorneys. She had the presumption of innocence. 12 jurors heard the evidence and unanimously concluded she was guilty. The judge imposed the sentence required by law. Donna proclaims her innocence even now. But the evidence tells a different story. A woman who loved her family so much she was willing to commit the ultimate crime to keep them close. The story of Donna Adelson is not about a monster. It's about an ordinary person who made extraordinary choices, who crossed lines most of us cannot imagine crossing. It's a reminder that wrongdoing doesn't always announce itself with obvious signs. Sometimes it wears the face of a grandmother and hides behind family devotion. Dan Markel deserved to live, to watch his sons grow up, to continue his work, to experience life. That opportunity was stolen by people who decided their convenience mattered more than his existence. On October 13th, 2025, the legal system said such calculations have consequences. Donna will spend her life paying for those consequences, living with the knowledge of what she did, with Dan's memory, and with the reality that her choices destroyed not only his life but her own. This is the story of Donna Adelson, the matriarch who fell from privilege to prison, from family gatherings to a cell, from freedom to life behind bars. If this case has captivated you, if you want to continue following stories where justice catches up with those who think they're untouchable, subscribe to Dark Trail Files right now. We dive deep into the evidence, examine the psychology behind crimes, and follow cases through every twist until justice is served. The Donna Adelson case reached its conclusion, but unanswered questions remain. Will Wendy face charges? What happens with Catherine's potential sentence reduction? Dark Trail Files will cover every development. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our community who want more than headlines. We provide in-depth analysis and careful research that helps you understand not just what happened, but why it happened and what it means. Thank you for watching. Remember, the truth always has a way of coming out, no matter how long it takes. Justice may be slow, but as Donna discovered, it can be relentless. This is Dark Trail Files. Subscribe now.